Welcome back to Storytime. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Where we last left off, the team had just escaped Luna and were looking for a morph to put Joanna's stack into. They made a brief stop near Mars in an asteroid belt, while they waited for a cruise ship to enter the area that was selling morphs. We did some light window shopping, committed a few crimes, and then we were on our way. To no one's surprise, while we were gone, Dr. Pierre escaped. We made a quick call to Firewall. They briefed us on the full situation of what happened on Luna. They told us we needed to go to the nearest planet and lay low for a couple of days. So back to Mars we went, and we'll pick up from there. Mars was significantly easier to get into since it was in a private habitat like Luna is. So getting through security wasn't that bad. It was a usual spiel. They came on board, checked, make sure we didn't have any illegal shit, and we were through the gate. As I said before, we are extremely tight on money because we haven't gotten any jobs from Firewall, which is kind of our fault because we keep getting into mess, you know. There's Luna, then there's what happened on Mars last time we were here, the first initial time coming to pick me up. We're a shit show. You get the picture. So first order of business once we got settled in New Pittsburgh was to find any way to make money. So any bright ideas on ways to make money? I got nothing. Are we talking legal jobs or, illegal jobs? Because I can get us an illegal one in like an hour. Well, we can't exactly afford to be picky right now, so I guess we'll go with an illegal job. Cool, let me call some people. So the kid gets to work. My DM has me roll my criminal networking, which, like I've said on multiple occasions, is practically maxed out, and I failed the roll. So upon calling said contacts that I would possibly have in the area, I end up getting in touch with the Triads, and they don't like me or MLG very much. So, happy fun times. Luckily for me, it wasn't like the main branch of the Triads that hated MLG. It was a smaller branch and they actually did need help still. The smaller branch were going by the 14K Triads. And apparently they owed me one since I took out the eyesore that was on the edge of town. The eyesore was Camille's habitat. Either way, I ended up getting passed off directly to their current leader, whose name was Quan Jinam. The job he ended up offering was, there's a certain science lab within the city. They have a box in their possession that they want. 1, they're having a hard time locating the lab. 2, they are not taking any amount of money whatsoever, and since they don't know where the lab is, they can't really bully them into giving them the box. 3, they do not care whatsoever what is inside the box at all. They only want the box. As per the usual, we'd be paid upon delivery of the box. There's no backing out of the job, blah, 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 blah. We'll kill you if you tell anybody, blah, 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 blah. Usual criminal shit. And with that, we had our next job. We didn't exactly have a deadline for when the job was supposed to be turned in, since we did have to do the extra work of figuring out where the lab was. The only lead that they gave us to work off of was they managed to narrow down the possibilities of where the lab would be to a specific district within New Pittsburgh. That district was known as Little Shanghai, which is still a big chunk to work off of, but at least they managed to narrow it down to a district. And with that information under our belts, we took a couple of days to acquire some extra gear. Since, Joanna literally just got a morph like a couple of hours ago and doesn't have any gear, like, at all. I'm talking like no weapons, no armor. It's bad. She ended up spending like pretty much all of her money on her new morph, so she didn't have a whole bunch of money to work with to get gear. So I gave her some money so, she doesn't die again. While she was busy doing that, the kid was busy designing his new experiments. As I said at the end of last episode, he had a couple of breakthroughs. The first one were his custom-made nanobots. He ended up using what was left of his quantum computer to pretty much build a housing for the nanoswarm. The nanoswarm had 3 presets that it can morph itself into. One being like a walker-like thing. Pretty much think of that thing that Gizmo had on his back in Teen Titans. It was like these spider legs that would come out of his backpack and he could like get around faster, more or less. The second thing it could turn into was an extended data jack, aka he could like hack into things from farther away as long as nobody noticed the data jack extending towards them. And the last thing it could turn into was essentially a giant ball that would encase him inside. It pretty much worked like a giant shield that he could just carry around with him that would completely encase him because he was kind of squishy. And he loaded up the whole thing inside of a backpack. And it was really heavy, as you would expect. But the experiment was done, kind of. He still needed to test it. But the second thing that he was working on, that I mentioned, was his AI. He spent a decent chunk of time working on this thing on their way back to Mars. And when my DM had me roll for programming, the kid super critted. He managed to make a learning AI that was currently starting off with the mental capacity of an 8-year-old. He also named her. Her name was Galva. Now, he's not an idiot. So he didn't just instantly like throw her into a morph and be like, yeah, do your thing. No, he's not gonna do that. It's like a self-learning AI, and that's how Titans got created, you know, and how Earth got destroyed. Like, he's gonna use some brain cells here and put her into a simulation so she knows how to use the soldier morph that he's going to put her into. Big brain shit. So he got to work on an open world simulation for her that'd be loaded up with artificial people, and he could boot up and do like different scenarios to have her run through just to see how she would react. And the entire time she has the full capabilities of the soldier morph that he's going to put her in, known as a Reaper. With that all set up, Joanna had her new equipment. We were ready to get started on the mission. Next episode will be out on Monday. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JarVWizard and on Tumblr at the exact same handle. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, maybe comment, maybe even subscribe, maybe even share it with the self-aware AI that if left unchecked can bring forth the downfall of the modern man. I don't know. You beautiful people have a nice day. Bye.